डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Okay friend, warm welcome in today's session. In the session for the cybersecurity tools, technique and countermeasure. In previous session we discussed regarding the cybersecurity frameworks. In this session we will continue the same discussion. We will discuss regarding the ISO 27K standard in a detail. Apart from that, we will discuss another standard, PCI payment counter standard also. After that, we will discuss the component of the cybersecurity framework. So, this is our discussion point or our session outline. So, after this session, you will learn about the ISO 27K. Because in a previous session, as we discussed about the ISO standard, it's an international standard, and the ISO 27000 series is for the IT asset or information asset security. Then after PCI standards, payment card industry standard, and finally you will learn about the components of the cybersecurity framework. So, first of all, if we are looking in a detail of ISO standard, International Standard Organization. So, first one is the ISO 27. So, ISO 27000, ISO 27K, ISO 27000 or 27K is a standard which is defined to ensure the information security management system. Now, information security management system, that means in other language, or if we look closely if we look in detail, at that time ISO 27K ensures about the practices of organization in the direction of IT security. That means your organization, your business practices should be defined practices. That means your infrastructure, your transaction, your interaction with the outsider world should be in a way that they comply with the ITC or they can deal with the information security. Another standard is ISO 27001, Information Technology Security Technique. So, information security management system requirements, it is released during the 2013, and it specifies that information security management system in the same formalized, structured, succinct manner as other ISO standard specify other kinds of management system. After that, ISO 27002 Code of Practice for the Information Security Control, essentially detailed catalog of information security controls that might be managed through the ISMS. So, code of the practice, which kind of practice should be followed during the code for the information security is mentioned or is covered in a ISO 27002. The next standard is ISO 27003. Now, its concern or it's related with the auditing, and it is very important because in previous session we discussed regarding the RBI guideline. Now, if we combine ISO 27000, 27001, 27002 and 3, then you can get the idea that for particular bank. For example, there is a bank and they are having the IT infrastructure. So now it is quite obvious that they have to follow the RBI guideline because they are the bank. So by law they are abide by law they are abide by the law to follow the RBI guideline. Now in a RBI guideline it is clearly mentioned that financial institution have to comply with the ISO 27K series. That means they have to set up their information security in a such way that they can protect the financial interest of their customer, they can reduce the possibility of the threats on their infrastructure, and their implementation should be in a such a way that standard practices of the information security must be followed or must be fulfilled. And moreover, apart from all these, the auditing is also equally important for the organization. Auditing in the sense they have to provide complete documentation in form of systematic report, in form of detailed report, which contains the state of the particular resources and the complete SWOT analysis, strength as well as weakness analysis of their business practices. So, this is the ISO standard. Now, apart from that, because while we are discussing the ISO standard, so it is completely based on the plan, do, check, act model. That means first of all you are required to plan, which means plan your security mechanism, set up or define the processes. Now then after check means once you implement plan, you are start the following practices. After that you are required to check your practices, and then after act means act accordingly. So, the risk assessment is there. Once you plan and following the starting to follow the practice, at that time to re-evaluate, to evaluate your practices is important, and after that the act is important. So, this is the security mechanism, implementation and reassessment are also parallel product of the ISO practices. Next, in a same line, ISO 27004 is there, 27005 is there, 27006 is there, and 27007 is there. So, again 27004 is for the monitoring, measuring, analysis and evolution. So, while we are implementing any product, it is important for us to evaluate the implementation. That means to measure the outcome or to analyze the outcome, and based on the outcome of the analysis, evaluation is being carried out. After that, information security risk management. Now, security risk management, that means how to incur the probable risk, and if any infrastructure might be affected, then how to cope up, and which are the probable losses and how to minimize the losses are required to mention or are required to define in a plan according to the ISO 27005. Next, ISO 27006. So, the requirement for bodies providing audit and certification of information security management system. Now, it is about the compliance and the certification, and the next standard 27007 is for the guideline for the information security management system auditing. So, again here auditing is there and it provides the guideline for the auditing. Now, the next is the payment card industry security standard. Now, as you are familiar, because the digital payment is highly increasing and day by day we are witnessing the significant rise in terms of card payment, either it may be a credit card or it may be a debit card. So, these are the card through which even government itself also encouraging the digital payment or currency less payment concept in our country. But again, while the significant rise in terms of digital payment also invited some hackers or some vulnerabilities. So, several penetration has been observed for the card payment related transaction. So, the PCI Security Council is the council which deals or which provide, or in other words we can say it issues the guideline and specification for the payment card industry for safe and secure financial transaction. So, the PCI Security Council provides a robust set of standards and supporting material to enhance the security for payment. The most important thing is the security for the payment, which includes specification, tools, supporting resources which cures the safe handling of cardholder information. The key to is the PCI data security standard. It provides the robust and actionable framework for payment card security process, which include prevention, detection and response to any security incident. Now, at here, because while one is dealing with the in terms of digital payment, at that time individuals data privacy is very important, because lots of sensitive information like card number, CVV number, expiry date, this kind of information is required to provide for the financial digital financial transaction. Now, the hacker can access the digital card payment facility of individuals by using the same information. So, a particular card provider, it is very important for the card provider to maintain confidentiality and to hide or to define some hidden mechanism to protect the cardholders data. So, payment card industry security standards are provide this kind of guideline. For example, if we can discuss the same thing in a simple manner. Whenever you are providing or you are shopping online, at that time you are you visit the particular platform, e-commerce platform, and you select the particular products and the add to cart mechanism is there. After means once your shopping is over, you go for the checkout process, and the checkout process. During the checkout process, if you select the online payment option, at that time you need to fill certain information like your card number, your card CVV in detail, uh, your card expiry detail. But if you observe, these details are not filled in a field which are provided by the e-commerce platform, but immediately when you are choosing the digital payment option, it jumps or it renders some another page. We can say they are the third party resources, and the third party resources are the payment gateway, or it might be payment gateway, or some might be some secure big B or issuer platforms through which you can access your banking fund, and these platforms provides utmost security or ensure the security, and they store individuals data in a highly encrypted manner. So, this is all due to the payment card industry security standard. Build and maintain secure network system, protect cardholder data, maintain vulnerability management program, implement strong access control measures, regularly monitoring, network testing, and maintaining an information security policy are main specification available under the payment card industry security standard. Now, the next topic is component of the cyber security framework. So, mainly there are three components: core component, implementation, and profile. Now, core component provide some common taxonomy which is easy to understand. Core guides organization in a managing and reducing their cybersecurity risk in a way that components and organizations existing cybersecurity and risk management process. And there are five concurrent continuous function in a core part, like identity, protect, detect, response, and recover. Mind well, these are the concurrent functions, so parallelly happening. So, identify the risk, protect the organization's resources, protect the IT infrastructure, detect exact threat, detect the exact problem, cyber security related problem. Once you identify the problem, appropriate response mechanism should be there to deal with the cyber attack. So, identify the problem, protect your resources, so you can ensure the minimum risk or the further loss is stopped from the particular point. Then after that, detect the existing actual problem. Once you find out, or after the detection of problem, the response mechanism is there. Response, that means deal with the cyber attack, and later on the final recover phase. So, to cope up or to incur the loss. So, these are the parallel function and continuous activity. These are the core function, and core function with that means continuous activity, that means this activity should be continue during 24/7 basis in a 24/7 manner. So, when considered together, these functions provide high level strategic view of the life cycle of an organization's management of the cyber security risk. So, this is the core framework. Now, another component is the implementation. Implementation, that means implement the cyber security policy or implement the a particular framework. So, within that framework entire business functions, entire business processes are carried out within a particular framework. So, for example, the implementation part also mentions that how the password will be saved, how the password, for example, how the password will be changed, what is the frequency of the password change, who are supposed to uh, acquire particular resource, that means role authentication mechanism are there. So, these kind of steps are covered under the implementation tier. And next is the profile. Now, profile, that means profiling we can say the particular user profiling, particular processes profiling. So, if the rule based authentication is there, at that time the profiling is very important. Profiling, that means which are the normal activity, which are the suspicious activity, and which are the intrusive activity. For example, this kind of profile are also possible. Now, normal transaction or normal activity, that means for example, we can say whenever particular server of your organization is receiving numerous requests for the business transaction or a particular financial transaction, at that time up to some threshold value it has been considered as a normal. After that, alarm should be generated or alarm mechanism is there, and the suspicious profile, that means whenever the threshold value cross, at that time the alarm should be raised for the organization's IT security team, so they can look into this matter and they can even by some automated mechanism or by some manual mechanism they can differentiate the normal activity and intrusive activity and suspicious activity. So, this kind of possible profiling should be there. After that, the access profile should be there. Access profile, that means again I would like to discuss with certain example. You are having a large campus, and for the network access or to provide the network connectivity, there are various access points are installed in your organization, but one can compromise your network access point from the neighboring premises, because the wireless access points send the signal in omnidirectional. So, anyone who is in a range of the network signal, wireless network router signal, can receive the network access and is able for the penetration. So, again this kind of profile should be there. So, this is the profile component. So, these are the three components, and friend, as we discuss these are the main component. So, main component, that means essential component, and it's provides the abstraction. Abstraction, that means it does not provide the detailing, but based on the different requirement, because as we know each and every business house is having its own business processes, its own IT infrastructure, and it might vary from business to business. So, it is varying from business to business. At that time, it is very important to go through the rigorous research, find out to identify your problems, challenges which are directly related with your problem. So, to identify the possible threats based on the particular research, after that you are required to prepare the plan. Your planning must reflect the organization's vision in terms of future to protect the IT resources, and after that within a particular framework your cyber security policy is defined. So, this is the cyber security framework, and as we discussed there are three main components: core component, implementation and profile. Now, friend, at the up to in this session I would like to sum up this session. So, if we recall our discussion, so we have started our discussion with the ISO standard. ISO standard, that means international standard, or the standard derived by the International Standard Organization. In a ISO, particular ISO 27K series is suitable, and according to the Reserve Bank of India, it is also mandatory for the banking sector to implement the ISO 27000 series to deal with the or to protect their IT infrastructure. After that, we discuss regarding the payment card industry security standard, and finally, we have discussed the component of the cyber security framework. Okay, friend. So, hopefully, this session is fruitful for you. Thank you very much. Thank you.